Ladies and gentlemen, aliens, whatever you identify as in this wonderful, beautiful world, welcome into the Hunter Houston ESG podcast. As always, I am here with you. Now, before we get started today, let me just say, let's please go over if you haven't, because a lot of people have said, "Hey, I don't realize you do a YouTube as well." Well, I do also do a YouTube, but um, mainly we're basically at is Spotify. We're at iHeartRadio. Trying to do more stuff with Rumble. Shout out to Rumble for the people who talked to me on Rumble numerous times. Hey, thank you so much. And yes, I'm trying to do more over there. Actually making money over there, believe it or not. So thank you over there at Rumble. But Spotify, and it's just simple Hunter Houston ESG podcast. It's that simple. Please give a like, share, and a follow. And as always, thank you so much hopefully I entertain you, or you say, man, this guy's a crazy person. I have to listen to their 30 minutes or whatever they have to talk about. Now, let me give a shout out to the Bad Movie Cold Cereal Pizza Party, or no pizza, just Bad Movie Cold Cereal Party. Now they do very bad movies. They all get together. I've recommended one bad movie, which I love, which is Party Animal. Hopefully they will do that. They just have to do it basically be like 5 minutes or less, because it's just a big 80s montage with just fake hooters and whatnot. But it's really cool. It's really weird. It has one of my favorite lines of all time in it. So hopefully they'll do that one eventually. So shout out to those guys. Um, Also, big special shout out to PlayStation Ain't Dead podcast for showing me some love yesterday and asking people to come over and check me out. So if you remember the PlayStation Ain't Dead podcast or PlayStation Ain't Dead, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, whatever domain they own on Facebook and so forth, thank you for joining me today. And ladies, again, I will say this one more time. Sean, the man who's on the show of Place Ain't Dead podcast, is single and he's ready to be hurt again, ready to commit to a bad relationship again. So hit him up. And if you do and you live in the upstate New York area, that would be wonderful because that means that I have found a love connection for a friend. And that would be awesome. Now, also shout out to the Resident Sterile YouTube channel. They're growing, getting better. He's a filthy reseller. You can look for him on eBay and all over the place selling stuff on Whatnot with his Whatnot shows. Now, onward to the show. Now, I titled this WB brand, Killing Their Brand. And I thought about it. Why is it that, let's say you can make an investment? Now, some of you may not be following me, so I'll just put this into Pretty Woman aspect. I'm sure everybody here has watched the movie Pretty Woman to an extent. Okay, so basically, uh, Richard Richard Gere's character, their company buys failing, or they bet against um, companies, and they buy the companies really cheap, and they separate the companies and make a bunch of money off of it, or they restore the companies, which is what, spoiler alert, it's only like a 30-year-old movie. But so here's what I think, and it's just my take. I don't speak for anybody else, and this is just allegedly. So I think the WB, Warner Brothers Studios or Game Studios or whatever, are doing this. And again, just my take, and this is allegedly. So imagine, if you will, you can make a bad movie and then not suffer any consequences. And you say, oh, it's no big deal if we lose money. Now, here's why. You see, in Vegas bets and other places around the world where you can bet, or you can basically get on the stock market and bet against a company or bet against a movie, you can make money off said things, allegedly. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that I'm a producer. I'm a some rich a hole, which I'm none of those things. Otherwise, I'd have better productions. You wouldn't see the back of all my crap and so forth and so on. I'm just doing a free webcam via YouTube and then uploading it all over to all the other places because I ain't got no money like that, yo. I'd be mad brokes. But that's nor here or there. Now, so let's say I am some rich dude or whatever, and I want to put out trash just for the sake of doing it because I can. Because If I'm not losing any money in the long run, then I can do it. This is no big deal. There's no consequences. So let's say I make, I don't know, the Suicide Squad game, which lost $200 million, or I make some other trash that's lost a lot of money. That's on the gaming side, but I just make trash that's not making any money for the companies, for the Warner Brothers brand in general, and I also have these theme parks, okay, with Universal. Now, you would think that's a bad business move, and the investors must hate that. Because people invest in these movies, they give money to these movies. Even actors give money to these movies from time to time. John Wick wouldn't have got made without the actress from what is it, Desperate Housewives, uh, Leva Vengoya or whatever her name is, who now lives in Spain because Orange Man bad, so she had to move away, or she's been at too many allegedly parties per se, and is scared that she gonna be on somebody's list. That's not here or there. So I make said bad movies, and then I go to the stock market. Now, no, I don't do it under my own name because I'm a producer, I'm an executive, or whatever. I have a shell company or a shill company, whichever one you want to call it, and then I have another company that's another shill company or shell company, and so I have them through the other money I have moved or put away or have other investments in. I have them bet against this movie. I have them bet the farm that this movie's going to suck. Have them bet the farm that this game from Warner Brothers Game Studio is going to suck. Then, if it does suck, because if they're making trash and they know it's going to suck, they get their money back, and then they can continue to make trash. So you're able to put dog crap out to the general public and get your money back in some form of way. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but crazier things have happened in governments that do kind of those things, or certain people who bet against the governments. Do you know it's legally allowed for you to bet for the fall of somebody's dollar, to bet it and it's called short stocks. There was a movie just recently came out about the GameStop stocks, where people shorted it and then lost billions of dollars shorting it, because basically the gaming community and other people, and this is when everybody was getting that $1,200 check, all invested in GameStop and rose up the stocks, and then basically all the smart people cashed out and got their money, while randos were left holding the bag. Um, I was fortunate enough to lose my money the old-fashioned way in Ethereum and Cardano. For those who don't know, that is Bitcoin, and I'm not telling you to invest in anything. Please don't. Please do your own research, or get a stockbroker or a cryptocurrency person to look after that for you. Now, so what I'm saying is, it doesn't make sense if you have investors and they're losing money hand over fist, making trash, making something nobody wants to see. Everybody knows generally what people want to see. The traditional trope of good guy overcomes bad thing. Bad people are bad. The simplest stories are the best stories, people. Everyone knows this. The ones that make the most money are just the simple stories of good versus evil. There's no, well, the bad guy's conflicted, and because he had a rough childhood, and because someone basically called him a clown and his jokes weren't funny, he decided to become a killer or a serial killer. And it's all justified because society's unfair and the rich suck. That's basically almost every story that is made now, that is written by some retee that it thinks they're trying to connect with certain people. You're not connecting with anybody, buddy. You just, in other words, you're connecting with people who are disenfranchised because they feel someone owes them something, but you're not connecting with anybody. So it is my alleged belief that Warner Brothers is doing this on purpose, or just some companies in general, because they can get away with it. Because it's like I said, if you have a couple of shell companies and it's never factored back to you, and you get your money back in some form of way, then you have no problem putting out trash and thinking it's funny, or you think that your message is more important than getting your money back the exact same way that you put in. And that's the whole thing. Is it's like, do you feel the destruction of society is more important than getting your money back the same way you put it in? And I think for a lot of these people, yes, I think it really is, because they don't care if the otherwise. It's like someone was telling me the other day, they're not attracted to certain men anymore. And I said, here's the reason why. Because everything in the last 10 years has been marketing for you not caring for that man that you're no longer attracted to. And the young lady looked at me and she thought about it because she's in her 20s. She said, yeah, I never thought of it that way. But all the marketing, everything you see on TV is just propaganda to an extent. And this is where the conspiracy or the alleged list comes in, or the allegedly with the finger quotes there comes into play. Is that everything could be a psyop if you believe it to be so. But if it's staring you right in the face, that's like saying for the last 20 plus years, it used to be just in comedy clubs or jokes, is that white men are bad. And that's it. Just white men are bad. Or white men are bad lovers. Or that, all these other different things. Like the whole thing, white man can't jump, you know, and has a Irish and Native American, which I am Comanche, and with a little Apache mixed in for good luck. I can't jump because I got something down below holding me down. That's not a, and see, by saying that constantly over and over and over again, and if you were to hear it constantly over and over and over again, you would know that I'm pagan. Now I already know I'm pagan, so that is what it is. That's not a lie. That's factual. But for a lot of people who say certain things, just like, and even like the certain individuals who claim to be a certain thing say, well, we got small things or whatever. Um, well, that's on you, brother. You may want to keep that to yourself. And then, the whole thing is like what Bruce Lee said, and others have said it before, is that if you say something, you talk it into reality. So if you say constantly that certain things about certain people, then it becomes a reality, and then women or men take it to be true. It's like, they say some people are bad fighters. Man, I ain't never lost a fight. I fought to a damn draw. That's the only time I've ever like lost. I don't consider it a loss. And this was like against the kickboxing champion of Germany at the time, Thomas Lagke. Um, in the this is like when like there was the West German and East German before they united and became like the full Germany. This is when the wall came down. So and that dude was a kickboxing champion. All I had was boxing skills that I learned from George Foreman's um, youth center that he had in Houston, Texas, for underprivileged kids. So I didn't know nothing about no kickboxing. Shout out to George, his brother George, for teaching us underprivileged kids. I will be forever grateful to George Foreman and to the city of Houston and to that area. So I digress. I just think that it's too convenient because again, if you have a big company and you continually lose millions upon millions of dollars, it just doesn't make sense. And you just keep doing the same thing over and over again without getting your money back. It doesn't make any sense. And again, the only thing that can make sense at this point is that, like I said, you have a couple shell companies that are basically betting against these movies, and someone's betting like a little bit for it to win, and then some are basically betting hard for it to fail. Why is it that the press is so negative sometimes? Even the press agrees with the negativity of the fans, or what the fans are saying, and then some people will actually go and see the movie that were kind of negative toward it at first because of all the negativity and say, "Hey, this movie's not that bad. This movie's not that bad at all." Now, Suicide Squad sucks bad. That's a horrible game. I got it for free for PSN Network for the free game of the month or whatever. I put it on. I played for a few hours. I even had my child try it with the volume down, and she said, "Daddy, this game's not fun. It's just not a fun shooter." I mean, there's nothing about it. I mean, even Gotham City or the Gotham game was actually kind of fun. Now it'd have been great. Well, actually, you can play co-op. That game is actually kind of fun. But if you would have kept things from was it Batman Knights, it would have been even better. But I digress. I think that and then here before I leave Warner Brothers Studios and Game Studios, the Harry Potter game or the Hogwarts Legacy game was good because it was just a Hogwarts game set years before. And even if it would have been a Harry Potter game, it still would have been good because the controls were good, the spells were good, and it had the atmosphere. and you can make your own character. So you could be any background you want to be inside the world of Harry Potter or inside the world of Hogwarts slash Harry Potter, which made for a good game. Now, if you force somebody to be a certain character or a certain background that they don't maybe identify with, then it makes it more difficult for people to want to play your game. Like, I don't want to be this person. This game sucks. I would say the uh, Unknown Nine Awakening for the PS5, PS4, Xbox, PC, whatever. That game sucks. And it's not because of the ethnic background of the girl you play as. It's because the game graphically is dog crap. Controls are somewhat decent. Powers are like kind of Jedi ish, but the backgrounds garbage. The AI garbage. The just like everything that you could think of, set design, I mean, just even the story's not bad. It's convoluted as hell, but it's just garbage. And that's the whole thing is with the Harry Potter or the Hogwarts Legacy game. Everything was done with love and care, even though they got a lot of hate because like uh, J, J.K. Rowling, and her stance towards certain things. And look, man, she's all for the LGB. The T, she separated because the T used to stand for transvestites, which was fine. If you want to dress up, do whatever, and then tell people you are, that's great. Now it's just like the T and the Q are just like this is my kink, and if you don't accept it, then you're a racist hater or whatever. No, 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 no one's a racist or a hater or whatever. We thought to give you equal rights or make sure you were on equal playing field that you could do what you want within your bedroom and not be um, not prosecuted, but basically like it's like hated on. It's like, well, man, whatever they do behind the privacy of their own home is cool and great, and then in their own home, not marching up and down somebody's street and saying, "Yo, man, if you don't agree with me, then you're a hater," and all these other things. No one's a hater, man. I didn't march to basically be called a hater by people who just say I have to celebrate their kinks or whatever. I mean, no, I marched so that my friends in New York and even my friends down here, when I used to have hair in my barber, uh, could get married, have a family, and do what they want behind closed doors. And that's what I marched for. And a lot of people can't separate a kink from or a weird thing from basically LGB, and I will always stand behind the LGB and the original T of transvestites. And for those who hate this section of the thing, I'm sorry. I apologize to you. But if you have a hard time understanding, then go to gaysagainstgroomers.com. They're the LGB um, community, and they have been around. They just started up a couple of years ago. Support them. Support your local chapter, and these are the people who did march to get all these things so they could basically have their families be left alone, and a girl like a girl and a guy like a guy. So I'm not a hater. I just think that if you have a kink or you have a certain lifestyle, keep your lifestyle behind closed doors because my lifestyle is kept behind my closed doors. You know, even though I wish I was skinny enough and I had hair and I could be Frank Furter from Rocky Horror Picture Show, but none of those things can happen. So I will never be the sweet transvestite from Transylvania. How unfortunate for me. Oh well. Now, now that will be clipped by somebody if I ever blow up and get big. Like this guy's a hater, but yet he loves Rocky Horror Picture Show. So he's like a hypocrite or whatever. No, I'm not a hypocrite. I just think things are funny. To this Harry Potter thing, they are rebooting Harry Potter. Now you would think, well, Harry Potter's only been out of the theaters for almost only 10 to 14 years. Why would you reboot something that's still fresh in people's minds and the books are amazing? Now, I am one of the people who watched the movies first and read the books second. I did not. The movies were kind of they were good. They were okay, but the books really touched me. The books were so well done. The books were, of course, what. Of course, they're going to be better done because basically movies are just cliff notes of a book anyway, and then you got to structure it. But I digress. Now, so they are going to reboot it as a TV series and make it like 10 or 7 seasons. Now, my biggest gripe, two of my biggest gripes, actually three. I was, thank goodness I have certain chat groups from the Loot Bros that I can vent my frustration and go drop all the f bombs in the world and all these other horrible things because I'm a rage filled individual sometimes. But so my biggest problem is John Lithgow, which I like John Lithgow. He was awesome in Ricochet with Denzel Washington as the bad guy. Spoiler alert: that is an old movie. So if you've never seen that movie with Denzel Washington, it's probably Denzel's best movie when he was a young cat. That is a awesome movie. See the movie Ricochet, and also he was the preacher father in Footloose because right now somewhere in this world, if Kenny Loggins is still with us, I believe he is, he's thinking, how can I get in on this Harry Potter? Because if John Lithgow, who played the preacher, who said rock and roll music is bad, you know, and the whole soundtrack was basically done by Kenny Loggins, how can Kenny Loggins get on this and make some money? So, Kenny Loggins, I know you're not listening. Hopefully, someone tags you. Um, Try to get in there and try to make you some money. You could be like the professor of rock music or like mystical magical music of rock or some bullcrap or whatever, and then you sing Footloose and other songs. Heaven helps the man who finds his dream. I'm free, which is actually I forgot about that song until Grand Theft Auto 5 and it was on the soundtrack. I'm like, man, that song's really good. And then I looked it up. I'm like, it's Kenny Loggins. I knew it was Kenny Loggins, but I'd like never heard that song before. And so I downloaded it and gave like I think Kenny Loggins or whoever like $4 or $5 for that song. It's a good song. I'm free, and it's from the Footloose. The Footloose soundtrack's a good soundtrack, but John Lithgow, who wouldn't let his daughter dance, wouldn't let her listen to rock music, hated Def Leppard for some reason, which I get tired of seeing kids wear Def Leppard or even women in general wear Def Leppard shirts and don't know who the hell Def Leppard is. Shame on you. I dated a girl named Jennifer Vega in New Windsor, New York. Uh, Mexican, pretty girl. At least I thought she was. Um, who loved Def Leppard and apparently was a groupie, and she was one of the groupies that they came to see or whatever. So me and Def Leppard, Eskimo brothers. What's up, homie? Let's get rocked. Now, so here's my thing. You have John Lithgow, who is not a he's not British, so he's going to have a British accent to be Dumbledore. Okay. Then you got a couple other people who are not British who are going to play. And again, I think this is people who are like, hey, we're going to make these things, we're going to bet against them and try to make money, allegedly. And it kind of like I'm at the point where I don't care because I don't really watch modern TV. I kind of old man. It's like I'm not like get off my lawn. I can't kind of am, but I'm like I have all the DVDs and yes, I have DVDs and Blu-rays of all the stuff I want to watch. I don't have to watch modern TV. I don't have to stream jack crap because I have everything I want to see up until I think probably 2012 or 15. I'm sitting here looking at my list right now. I see Anchorman, Any Given Sunday, Gladiator, Groundhog Day, Bachelor Party. Let's see, Scarface, The Best of Will Ferrell from Saturday Night Live, Austin Powers, all three. So I have every movie, and I got a ton of movies that I want to see. I don't need to stream your new trash or watch something new. I'll watch a documentary if it's factual. It's like this is loosely based. I mean, like you change everything, you know. But here's what I think is going to happen with Harry Potter, allegedly. So Snape or um, Severus Snape will be played by a let's just say a different individual. There we go. And so I think that it's not going to be like, oh, he was in love with her, and then like he kind of hates Harry, but he looks after Harry. No, I think it's going to be that like Snape is his dad, and then that like it's like this is allegedly. So if Warner Bros is listening, they're either gonna steal the ideals, like oh man, he knew he knows what we're going for. So Snape is going to be Harry's dad, and he ends up dying. And at the end, spoiler alert for no one who saw like the last Harry Potter movie or read the last book, but so he'll end up being his dad, and she got raw dogged by him numerously, and then she met James Potter, who was rich, and because Severus is from the street, you know, you can't be with Severus because he's from the street. She had to be a single mom first, and then get with James. And then James didn't know, and or James was okay because he loved Lily. He loved Lily so. That's my theory of what they're going to do with Harry Potter. Hermione will, if you're going off what J.K. Rowling wanted, and apparently she is a part of the project, is that Hermione should be either African American or African descent of European, like migrated over to Great Britain. And then because of what Warner Brothers does constantly, you can't have any gingers anymore. Apparently, if you have redhead, you're an endangered species when it comes to movies or for a movie rewrite. So, he's already gone. Okay, so Ron Weasley is Ron Keesley. He gone. He he ain't coming back, yo. He out. I would be shocked. I would actually go outside and take a leak off my balcony while everybody broad daylight. I don't care if people is outside and go to jail proudly if Ron Weasley is actually going to be Ginger again. It all goes back. I hate to say it, it all goes back to South Park. You know, like she's not even, and like now they don't even pretend to like even put gingers in. Like, hey, here's a wig. You're redheaded now, or hey, here's blah blah blah. But so will I watch the new Harry Potter? Absolutely not. Will I watch the new reboot? And they're supposed to be doing another Lord of the Rings. Absolutely not. I've already watched them in their entirety of people who probably did the best interpretation with lesser graphics and lesser means. So why would I watch them people who are going to spend more money and better, details, whatever, when you're not even respecting the original principles of it? If if diversity is our strength, then let's if we're gonna do the rainbow, which is fine. I don't mind the rainbow. Then make it a corno parody. That's all. I say that jokingly, but you know, uh, if you're gonna do it, you can't do the whole. Everybody. Because if we're everybody's going to be equal, then just do the exact same script, and just everybody's like, okay, I don't care what you are, if you're Indian, blah blah blah, so forth, so on. Just do the exact same script. Not like, oh well, now because of this person, so forth and so on. Now we got to give the whole history background of their family or from their country or their customs. But yet, like, oh well, Harry or whoever, yo, nah, homie, your customs suck. You suck. Um, you know, it's amazing in so many ways that just like that happens in everything that's either rebooted or touched up. I'm like, no, just either make it exactly the same and you can make that other person whatever. I don't care. Or you know, do it as a parody. Look. I've seen the original scary movies. I hate those movies. I like Drew Barrymore, and she spoiler alert, she dies early on in those movies. But I don't care for the scary movie franchise with Liv Campbell or whatever. I don't care for that franchise. You know what I care for? The scary movie franchise, because that shit's funny. The Wayne's brothers are funny, and apparently they're working on Scary Movie 6 because they were out. They were let something happen in number 4 or whatever. So some things are better if you just basically like leave it as be. Like don't be a menace while drinking your gin and juice in the hood. Those things are better than the originals because they're cool, they're funny. I want to laugh. If you do like a Harry Potter spoof and you make it whatever, as long as it's funny, I'm gonna love it and give it money and support it. But don't sit there and be like, well, we're basically gonna do the exact same story, but we're gonna make these small changes to fit the new people we brought in. Get effed. So All right, enough of me crying and whining and pissing and moaning about WB and their bad business decisions. And but I talked about movies and games. So let me move on to movies and games. There are some movies that had very, 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 very good games that were horrible movies. And I can tell you this: Batman Forever with what's that Peckerwood's name? George Clooney. So that movie's horrible with Arnold Schwarzenegger, George Clooney. But the video game, actually not bad. If you can find that old arcade video game or find the Super Nintendo or the PlayStation version of that game, because it was a PlayStation 1 game, play that game. Check it out. It's not bad at all. The Wolverine Origins movie, which kind of sucked. It had some good parts. The ending was dog crap. They kind of did a bad part on some of the things, but the game was lit. It was one of the best until the Batman series came out. Uh, it was one of the best from Rocksteady at the time, which is no longer Rocksteady anymore. But it was one of the best freaking games you could have played. I'm not even joking with you. It was one of the best games you could play. And there are tons of movie-based games that are actually better than that were the movies were trash, but the games were actually good. Bolt and shout out to Nappy X. He's a streamer for World War Z. Cool guy. Um, he gave me crap numerous times for being really cool with Bolt, the video game, because he saw me playing it on Xbox one time. He was like, "Oh, you're playing Bolt." I'm like, "Yeah, because it's a fun game. I'm not playing it because it's trash. It was actually a good game." And there are tons of games that are good games from movies where the movie's garbage. But I'm just giving a few examples. If anybody wants to give some comments on the Spotify, Rumble, or whatever about what game that you thought was good, but it had a crappy movie attached to it, yo, feel free, give it a shout out, man, and then we'll give you a shout out on the next show if that's the case, or shows later on, and move, basically bring back to this episode. So that's one of the things. Now, for those who have PS5s, and hopefully they'll come to PC, and maybe even come to X. I doubt they'll come to Xbox, but they'll probably come to PC. Astro Bot for the PS5 is a great game, but what they've been doing, even though the game was complete, they probably had stuff that where stages weren't done, and so they just wanted to basically give you free stages, which is unbelievably cool and awesome from Sony, because I would pay for these stages, and one was like a kind of a time trials where you have to beat them in a certain amount of time, and there was like five. Then they're doing one right now where they're giving you a new stage every Thursday, and you could beat the stage, but it also has a time attached to it. So I am one of these people where if I see a friend has beaten me from my PlayStation thing, I will go out of my way to constantly keep playing that stage until I beat their time. So I have a person on my friends list who tried to beat some of my times, and then hit me up like, "Hey, I beat your time on Astrobot. Guess what, buddy? I'm super petty." And so I went out of my way to make sure that I beat this guy by a lot. Um, and then, I work really hard to make sure my times are good. Now, am I the world's best? Absolutely not, because that requires time, and I'm a game hopper. I'm not doing that. So if you own Astrobot for the PS5, then check that out, because if you've already beaten it, and they also have a Christmas one that they did for Christmas, a Christmas episode. So be on the lookout for that, guys. If you have Astrobot for PS5, so it's more than just the main game. It's basically what 10 more extra stages, actually 11 more extra stages if you want to count it down. That's awesome. And they may even give you some more stuff, or you can just keep giving us content and I'll pay for it. It's actually good. Child likes it too. So now a new game that came out that I want to get, and then I have friends who listen to this, Split Fiction, which is actually a cool game. Um, it's $50, which is kind of steep, man, because I'm trying to save my money for some of these newer games that are coming out, and I just had to spend a bunch of money on a new roof and other crap. So I ain't got the pockets for it, but apparently if someone owns it, so if you're on my friends list and you own said game, invite me to play it with you, because you can invite in a rando friend to come play it with you even though they don't own the game, which is a pretty cool feature. So definitely hit me up because I want to play this game. It's about two writers, and I don't want to give it away, but definitely check that out. Split Fiction. I think it's going to be awesome. From the chat last night on the PlayStation 8 Dead podcast, there was a couple of people in there talking great about it, and I even said, I'm gonna wait on. Or if someone would like to gift me the code for it, I would also take that. Again, look at our details there, and you can message me, and then I will give you a shout out for at least a month, if not more, of that you gifted me a game. So thank you so much. Also, I would like that for WWE 2K 25 because I don't have that game yet either. And now you can do mixed matching, where it's like you can have Rhea Ripley take on Dominic Mysterio because she used not be able to do that, because I guess it was deemed upon bad. But when AEW made it where you can like have the girls versus the guys, I think basically WWE said, well, if they can do it, why not us? And so, also sometimes it's good to get practice because, like, you could be a dude and not know how to play the game, and then you learn how to play it on like hard mode or whatever by taking on like one of the guys or one of the girls, and because if they're like a level like 50 or whatever, even though they're marked at 89 or something like that or whatever, there's a difference between men and women to an extent. But so if someone wants to gift me that game, you can as well. I already have Assassin's Creed Shadows. Shout out to the Ghost for gifting me Assassin's Creed Shadows, the deluxe editions. I'll have it. Well, I would have had it a few days early, but now it's like just doing a grand release for everybody. So shout out to Ghost, who used to be on the show, who doesn't like to do the show anymore because I don't talk enough sports anymore. Speaking of sports, the WNBA. There we go. See that segue right there? It was good. The WNBA is thinking about setting out because they need more revenue and more money. Now, note for people who lose 40 million, if not more, every year, and you want the same thing that the boys get, excuse me, the men get, uh, you are quite delusional. You should be thankful that you have two stars. Now, Angel Reese is a star for laying bricks. I wish for every brick she laid, she'd build me a house because I'd have the best and biggest brick house ever. But she has just recently came out and said, we are well, I don't want to say it in her words, I'll say it in my words. Allegedly, we are not going to play if you don't pay us what we think we deserve. Look, I think it might work. I deserve a lot of money because I do a lot of things a lot of people don't want to do, and I guarantee you, if I didn't do it, you'd probably have to hire three people to do it. Okay. But with that said, I'm the lowest paid guy on the totem pole. I mean, absolutely nothing. If I was to die today of a heart attack, they'd replace me with three other people and not think nothing about it. That's the honest truth. Because my job is considered not important because I'm a nobody, and that's okay. A lot of people's job are not considered not important. But if all those people just basically said, "Hey, man, we're not coming in. This is what you need to give us," I guarantee you stuff would change really quick because of all the bureaucracy of how long it takes to hire people to replace you. Yeah, you'll get what you want. Now, unfortunately, how the real world works, because that kind of works to an extent, but how the real world works is that whoever led said thing and whoever is behind said things will eventually be replaced or basically told to take a walk, and then basically the few peons who wouldn't cross over get to keep their jobs, and eventually you're going to lose money anyway, or you may get a raise. The only time you really get a raise is if it's like, hey, we all got the blue sue or whatever it is, where everybody just decides to call out sick all at once, the blue flu. And I hear my people are back, so that's not good. They came back quickly. They're at church doing their thing. But yes, those are one of those things that take place from time to time. Now, let's move on to the Xbox. Xbox apparently had a new update. Was it a good update? No. Allegedly, it's been resetting people's Xbox to default. So if you have done this new update, please let us know if it set your system to default and messed up your system beyond repair. Well, not beyond repair, but basically a factory reset, which would be kind of like you have all your games you want on the system, you have everything set up the way you want it, and the next thing you know, bam, done. That sucks. So let us know if you're one of the people that had that problem, or you're like me, where it's like, I'm just not playing my Xbox because I'm not going to update it until you fix those bugs. Now, moving on to the Wu Tang Clan. Now, I know some of you may or may not listen to the Wu Tang Clan. They will go in the Hall of Fame. I think they're already in the Hall of Fame, actually. But released a new song, Mandingo. It's actually pretty good, very well done. And the RZA is just such a great producer. Everything that he has produced and music wise is just amazing. Give him lots of loves and shout outs. And I always say, Liquid Swords from Jizza is one of the best produced, best best put together album of all time. I really feel that way. If you love hip hop, if you love R&B, that is definitely worth talking about. Now, going into wrestling. Okay, Sean Spears or Mr. 10, Ty Dillinger, whatever you want to call it, won an NXT North American Championship. And he's standing next to Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels wants to shake his hand. And then he looks at Shawn and it's like, nah. People who may or may not remember, he was working catering as a security guard or whatever, and he was someone else's name, and he was super kicked in the face. So that's fun to remember there. And then Naomi turning full heel. That's funny because she just came back, and when she left the WWE with Sasha Banks or Monet, she was a heel. And so I find it quite funny that she decided to turn heel again. I guess she feels like she's stuck in the rut. So who knows what's going to happen? But I think that's a bad move. I think it should have been Bianca Belair who was the heel, and just the weight and the turn was kind of. We'll see how it takes place, but just leads me to believe that Bianca Belair will win the championship at WrestleMania, then defend it against either Naomi, or she sides with Naomi, and then Jay Cargill will go up against her, and then Jay Cargill will be champion for about 6 months to a year. Which Jay Cargill, super beautiful. She should just be doing movies. Okay, if you're that good looking, you should just be doing movies, and she should just be playing Storm. That's it, just Storm all the time. But ladies and gentlemen, I am out of time. Please like, share, subscribe to the show, and as always, thank you, uh, aliens, whatever you identify as in this wonderful world. Peace.